All right, let's go over the practice quiz for congruent and similar figures. Remember, congruent figures are exactly the same. So congruent figures have exactly the same shape and the same size. Okay? So same shape, same size, exactly identical to each other. Similar figures, they have the same shape, but they don't have the same size. They could be larger or smaller than the original. But two things have to be true of similar figures. The corresponding angles are congruent. So that means that the matching angles must be the same degree. So you'll have, if there's a triangle, all three of the angles are going to be the same degrees. The corresponding side lengths are proportional. All right. All right, number 3 and 4, we're just solving for x. Number 3 is already set up as a proportion. So 4 times x is 4x, and it equals 5 times 12, which is 60. So at this point, it's a one-step equation, and I just want to divide both sides by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1x, or simply x. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So x equals 15. All right, problem number 4. We're given two similar figures, two similar triangles. We need to set up our own proportion. So if I'm looking at the first triangle, the larger one, I'm going to go ahead and set up my proportion here. I would use 14 and x from the first triangle. And we know that 14 corresponds to 2, and x corresponds to 1. So we have our proportion. All right, 2 times x is 2x, and 14 times 1 is 14. We need to divide both sides by 2 because we want to get rid of the 2 that's next to, we want to get rid of the coefficient 2 that's next to our variable. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we're left with 1x, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. So we find out that x equals 7. All right, number 5, draw the symbol for congruent to. Remember, congruent to has an equal sign in it, and it kind of looks like toothpaste on a toothbrush. Has an equal sign because congruent is equal to something else. Similar to kind of looks like a snake. S for similar to, S for snake. All right. Use congruent trapezoids A, B, C, D, and E, F, G to answer questions 1 through 9. All right. Remember that the first letter of the first figure always matches the first letter of the second figure. And the second letter will always match the second letter of the other figure, and so on. So we know that A is going to match E, B is going to match F, C is going to match G, and D will match H. I know it's kind of confusing, but all you got to do is match up the letters. First letter, second letter, third letter, and so on. They'll always match up that way. So question number 7 says, what is the measure of angle E? So when we're looking for a measure, we're looking for the measurement of the inside of an angle, and it's usually going to be written in degrees. Okay? Typically, you'll find it inside the figure unless there's not enough room, and then often there's a line or an arrow. So angle E. E is the first letter. It's going to match up with A. So if I'm trying to find angle E, there's no need to kind of manipulate it or turn your paper. E, first letter, matches first letter, 70 degrees. Angle G, third letter, matches the third letter, which is C, 130 degrees. Over here, we're looking for a length of a side. That's not going to be degrees, that's going to be a measurement. It's usually going to be centimeters or inches or feet or yards or miles. Okay, it's a measurement, it's a distance. What is the length of AB? Well, AB are the first 2 letters, so it matches the first 2 letters of the other figure, EF. So EF is right here. So that is 18 centimeters. Number 10 says, what is the side length of AD? So that's the first and the last. It'll match the first and the last. So EH. Right there. 35 centimeters. Okay? actually this one. All right, each pair of figures is similar. All right, we already know they're similar. Find the missing side. So we just need to set up a proportion. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my proportion here. I've got my fraction bars for my ratios. I'm going to use this first figure. I've got 8 and 7. Remember, one figure is going to be on one level. So if you start off with the first triangle and you use both pieces, they're going to be on the same level together. So 8 and 7. Inside 8 matches up with 80. That's its corresponding piece. Side 7 corresponds or matches up with letter X. Now we cross multiply. 8 times X is 8X, and that is equal to 80 times 7, which is 560. We've got a one-step equation, so we need to divide both sides by 8. The 8's cancel, X equals 70. So X equals 70. All right, number 14. I can go ahead and use 12 and 10. Notice 12 and 10 are from the same shape. They're on the same level. They're both on top. 12 corresponds to X. 10 corresponds to 5. Cross multiply. X times 10 is 10X. 12 times 5 is 60. You need to divide both sides by 10. X equals 6. All right. So let's take a look at 15 and 16. 15 and 16 have all of the sides have a length. So we've got distractors in here. We've got some numbers that we will not use. We know for sure we have to use X. So I'm going to go ahead and set my proportion up. I'm going to start with X. And now I can pick any other side I want. I'm going to pick 8 simply because it's the smallest number up there. So I'm using X and 8. And so X corresponds to side 49. And 8 corresponds to 56. And so now I'll cross multiply. X times 56 is 56X. And 49 times 8 is a number that I don't know off the top of my head, so I'm going to use my calculator. (49 times 8 is 392. We're going to divide that by 56. So X equals 7. All right, problem 16. No, I have to use this X, and I think I'm going to choose the 15 right here. So X and 15. I'm going to go ahead, and this time I'm going to start off with this shape because I have to use this X. So I've got X and 15 at the top of my proportion. X corresponds with 6. 15 corresponds with 3. X times 3 is 3X. 6 times 15, 90. Divide both sides by 3. X equals 30. All right. (17) Solve each proportion. So these proportions are already set up. I just need to cross multiply and then divide. So 2 times 5m. So a lot of confusion here. 2 times 5 is 10, but they're m, so it's 10m equals 6 times 5, which is 30. Divide both sides by 10, and I get m equals 3. Number 18. 2 times x is 2x. 6 times 5 is 30. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 15. All right, 19 through 22. They're the same as what we've been working on. They're similar figures with a missing side, except for they don't give you a picture. They give you a word problem. So let's start off. Here's how I like to start these. I use an L shape to help me get started. So a 6 foot tall man. So right away I know it's a man. You can either just label this as an M for a man, or you may want to like draw a stick figure in there. That's my man. He is 6 feet tall. Okay, 6 feet tall. So that's going to go here because that's his height. He's standing next to a car. So the other shape we're going to have is a car. So C for car. And if you want to, you can draw yourself a little car in here. Don't have to be an artist. I can't even tell what I got. A little SUV there. All right. But the 6 foot tall man is standing next to a car and casts a 9 foot shadow. It's not the car that's casting the shadow. The man is standing next to a car, but he is casting the shadow. So the man is 6 foot tall, casting a 9 foot shadow. If the car casts a shadow 6 feet long, so the car is casting a 6 foot long shadow, then how tall is it? Referring to the car. How tall is the car? So I'm going to set up my proportion. So I use 6 and 9 from the first figure. 6 corresponds to x, 9 corresponds to 6. X times 9 is 9x, 6 times 6 is 36. Divide both sides by 9. X equals 3. So I found out that it is 3 feet tall. Alright, number 10. Start off with those two L shapes. 10 foot tall elephant. Alright, so I'm just going to put E for elephant. It's 10 feet tall, and it casts a 5 foot shadow. Then how long is the shadow that a 4 foot tall tent? Alright, 4 feet tall, and it's a tent. How long is the shadow? That's the question. How long? That's going to be down here at the bottom because it's a length. So once again, I'm going to set up my proportion. Got 10 and 5 on the top because they came from the same figure. 10 corresponds to 4, and 5 corresponds to x. 10 times x is 10x. 4 times 5 is 20. Divide both sides by 10. And we find out that x equals 2. So to answer the question, how long is the shadow of the tent? You can write the tent's shadow is 2 feet long. Alright. Number 21. A rectangle is 1 inch tall and 4 inches wide. This is a very simple shape. I think I'll just draw a rectangle for this. 1 inch tall and 4 inches wide. Oh, I'm going to change that up so that the picture matches the situation. 1 inch tall, 4 inches wide. 1 and 4. If it is enlarged to a height of 4 inches, then how wide will it be? So we got 1 and 4 from my first shape. 1 corresponds to 4, and 4 corresponds to x. So 1 times x is x, and 4 times 4 is 16. So x equals 16. Then how wide will it be? 16 inches. Number 22. Shania enlarged the size of a photo to a width of 16. So the photo that's 16 inches wide, that's the new photo. Because it says, what is the new height if it was originally 4 inches wide and 3 inches tall? So they've kind of switched it up. The original size is at the bottom, and the new size in the question is now at the top. So I've got a photo, and it's 4 by 3. So I've got a 4 inch wide photo, 3 inches tall. That's my original. That's stated right here. And I'm going to enlarge that to a width of 16, and they want to know how tall will it be? What is its height? Okay, what is the new height? That's what we're trying to find out. That's represented by x. So we've got 3 and 4 across the top. 3 corresponds to x, and 4 corresponds to 16. Alright, x times 4 is 4x. 3 times 16, let's say that's 32, plus another 16. So 48. And we need to divide both sides by 4. So x equals 12. Alright, and I should go ahead and finish this off and say I should have said 12 inches. Alright, that is the practice test work. Tomorrow the real test will be just like this, only the word problems will be changed, but it'll be the exact same method. Everything else will be the same. Numbers change out, but the question numbers stay the same, the format stays the same. So if you learn this test, there's no reason not to get a 100 tomorrow. Alright, have a good night.